Good afternoon. Sorry for the delay. We will immediately start the press conference following the Foreign Affairs Council, which took place today, and then we will take a couple of questions.
Yes, I apologize very much. We're struggling against time in all senses. Today, on the agenda of the Foreign Affairs Council, we had Africa as a strategic debate, not only the crisis, not only the threats, starting obviously from the terrorist one, but also the opportunities that the continent offers not only to its own people, but also to its partners around the world. And we discussed the need to move from a donors-recipients relationship to a full political partnership with Africa as a whole, with the African Union, with some of the African countries and sub-regional organizations. As we fully understand that Africa's stability is European stability, and that we share common interests, not only bilaterally, but also on global level. Think of climate change negotiations or the post-2015 agenda. And obviously the issue of development and the issue of migration that we also discussed later on during the day. I will immediately say something about migration because, as you know, we had an informal discussion with the ministers and with Commissioner Avramopoulos. It was the first time since 10 years we had such a discussion with the foreign ministers, which is something quite unbelievable, I think, but timely to resume as a discussion, as the Commission, as you know, is developing a new migration agenda that will be ready for May. And the interior ministers, the justice and home affairs ministers, are debating the internal side of the policies of the European Union towards migration and asylum policies. So we discussed with Commissioner Avramopoulos the external side of the EU policies on migration and asylum, and we will come back to that in one of the future, not far away, not 10 years for sure, future Foreign Affairs Councils with concrete proposals. And in this respect, let me say this is not one part of Europe problem. It is a common issue. It's a common challenge we all have, not only coming from the sea, also coming from the land. And we found unanimity among the 28 on the fact that we need to have a complex and complete response to a complex and challenging issue as the one of migration. On Libya, after my talks in New York last week with Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and my talks in Egypt on Friday with President Sisi, with the King of Jordan, with the Foreign Minister of the Emirates and others, we updated our discussion as we had it at the Gymnich in Riga last week, with the full and active European Union support to the political dialogue that is now suspended for a few days and will resume, as we learn, on Thursday. When I say full and active support, it means not only full and active support of the talks in Rabat, but also to the different tracks of talks that are going on. As you know, in Brussels, we hosted last week a meeting of businessmen, more than 40, coming out with a common statement asking for a unity government. We will host next week a meeting of municipalities here in Brussels to accompany the political process with a grassroots or with a local authorities approach. And as you know, a similar debate, similar talks took place in Algeria last week with political parties. This to say that we do not see alternatives to the political dialogue to succeed. What we are preparing for is European Union measures to support the outcome of the political process in all possible ways. You might have seen the conclusions already that mention explicitly not only our strong belief that, I quote, there is no military solution to this conflict, only a political solution can provide a sustainable way forward, and that the Council invites the High Representative, which means me at the moment, to present as soon as possible proposals on possible CSDP activities in support of the security arrangements, which means CSDP activities in support of security arrangements that need to be done in the political dialogue, in close coordination with the UN, with Libya, with key partners and regional actors as part of a wider set of policy options. This means that the European Union will be ready to support the outcome of the political dialogue with all its means. We also had a discussion on the preparation of the Riga summit with our Eastern partners. Let me also say that today we agreed with Ukraine an updated association agenda, and we will have later today, in an hour, the first association council with Moldova. We also took, as Council conclusions, a decision on Bosnia-Herzegovina, following my most recent visit to Sarajevo during the time when Parliament endorsed and approved the written agreement on the reforms. We decided to proceed with the entry into force of the Stabilization and Association Agreement. I hope this can keep the energy and the momentum that I found in Sarajevo last time on the reform process to get closer to the European Union. Let me also say the last two things. That the 28 the member states agreed on my proposal to have two additional EUSRs, EU Special Representatives, one for the Middle East and one for the Central Asia. In the first case, it's Fernando Gentilini, a diplomat that so far has been following in the ES the dialogue between Belgrade and Pristina, a top negotiator. And for Central Asia, Peter Burian, a Slovak, currently Secretary of State, with a long and deep knowledge of the region and also of the Russian language that is helpful in that region. This means that the agreement was there today. Obviously, they will not take office tomorrow morning. The procedure will still be a little bit long, but the political decision is taken. Finally, but I guess you heard the news already, I'm very late for a meeting with Zarif, and we are having tonight first a bilateral, me and him, and then a dialogue on the Iranian nuclear talks with the 3 foreign ministers of the European Union countries that are involved in negotiations, Foreign Minister Hammond, Steinmeier and Fabius, together with me and with Zarif, as we are entering, as you know, in the last 2 weeks of crucial negotiations. There are still some gaps that need to be tackled, and we hope that tonight our European side contribution can help in solving or closing or narrowing some of these gaps. Thank you.
Okay, Noureddin.